Now, I'm getting ready to put these up. These are up pretty high, and if you've been watching lots of my videos on the condo rehab, you'll have known that we brought over an 8-foot ladder for all of this stuff. You know, a 6-foot ladder just wasn't cutting it when you have 10-foot ceilings, when you have cathedral ceilings and all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of high ceilings in the other room and stuff. I still happen to have that around, so I gotta muscle that out of the garage. And if you ever get a ladder from the store, I always would recommend you getting this type of ladder right here. This is called a Werner ladder. It's a fiberglass ladder. And they have all kinds of different colors. The different colors mean something. They have, this is one of the higher end. They even have one that holds more weight than this one, a red one. So they have red, orange, what else do they have? Green, yellow, blue, and each one is for certain weight limits on there. So make sure you look at them and pick the one you need. They've got these, and I've even got one. I even used to have one like this that was only 3 foot tall. So, but the standard ones are 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot. I even used to have a 12-foot ladder. Oh, that sucker was heavy, but it was, you know, hey, when you need a tall ladder like that, you need one. So Werner's the way to go, but specifically a fiberglass ladder rather than a wood ladder. If you get a wood ladder after having it for a few years, it gets all wonky and it gets all wobbly. And even an aluminum ladder, you get an aluminum ladder that's all this color, they're just not as strong and as stout as the fiberglass ladders. Yes, fiberglass costs you more, but they're well worth it. Get one if you need it. I'm just about ready to start my project. And did you notice something that I did that you should never do? These have been sitting like this for months now. We've been in here for a while. You should never leave your wires exposed like that. See there? I've had the light fixture or the light switch turned on, had those two wires been close to each other, touching each other, it could have sparked, caused a fire, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, now do you know how to know which way's on and off? Well, off on a paddle switch. If it's a single pole switch, meaning one switch goes to just one location, okay, is always down. If they've installed this right, there's a top to it and a bottom. Usually it'll say top on the actual light switch when you install it. Okay, but not all of them are single pole. Some could be a three-way, meaning you might be able to turn these lights on at 2 different locations. See, there's a light switch there, but that one I know happens to go outside on the deck. There's a light on the deck, and that just goes for that. Okay, so I know it's not that one. But if I do that, I should have power on those wires. And just for kicks, let's just leave that switch like that. And I'm saying it should be on. Okay. And we'll just get up there with my wire tester. I gotta be careful because I'm pretty sure there's wires. I'm hot now. My light on my tester should go on, and it does. There's a little orange light that goes on there. I don't know if you saw that or not. Okay. And so I'm going to turn that light switch off now. Doink. Turn it off. And let's just see what's going to happen here. Okay, it's off. I know it's off there. Okay. Even if I touch the white to the ground, nothing. White to black, nothing. But some people swear that that white wire could still be hot because it's a neutral wire, and that has to be included to make the circuit whole. If you know anything about that, let me know. Because like I say, I don't normally turn the breaker off. I usually turn just the light switch off. And some people, I've gotten messages, comments before poo-pooing me, saying, hey, Joe, you shouldn't be doing that. You should actually be turning the breaker off because the white wire still has power. It's a neutral wire, and it still has power to it. Okay? But for my purposes, I don't think it does. I just don't think it does, but I could be wrong with that. But I'm not going to turn the breaker off. I'm just going to leave the light switch off. I thought I'd show you what I'm looking at. And have I ever installed one of these exactly? No, I never have. I've installed lots of light fixtures before, but not this type. Not this particular one. And it shouldn't stop you from doing your project, okay? If you can install one light fixture, chances are you can install them all. And I'll just have to be careful with that. I'm going to make sure I read the directions on here, and I'm also going to save this in case, for some unknown reason, the light itself, if it ever burns out. Now, chances are it's not going to, but if it gets broken by accident, if the circuit shorts out for some reason and it blows a fuse and the light goes out for some reason, I want to see if I can't just order the new light. And lots of times you can, and there'll be the manufacturer's phone number in here and stuff, and sure enough there's a phone number here and that kind of stuff. And if you're having any issues with installing it or anything, look on here and there'll be directions there too and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna open this up, and I like the fact that most times they give you wire nuts just in case if you don't have any wire nuts and stuff. Here's the little mounting bracket, and I'll have to look at that and read the directions on it probably. Oh, okay, it's going to go like that. This is going to be facing in. Here's a ground screw. This section is going to face right inside the box. This is going to fit right over the sheetrock. And here's your trim screws and stuff, okay? So take note of all your stuff. Pull it all apart. Be careful as you're pulling everything apart and everything. You don't want to just do it willy-nilly and then find out something goes wrong. But you know, you learn as you go. That's just how it always works. You learn as you go, and if you can install this one, then chances are you can install the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And it doesn't look that difficult, and I'm gonna have to look at that because I know that head can be adjusted, and I don't see any set screws on it. Okay, you can pull it out like that, and then I think you can just twist it whatever direction you want. Okay, and then you can angle the head, and it looks like all that is self-contained. They used to have a nut on the outside where you could do it, or some set screws or something. There's nothing on here. They you know, every year they come out trying to make something a little bit newer, a little bit easier to install for the do-it-yourselfer and all that kind of stuff. And so that's a good thing. Okay? So now that I see what I've got, I'll look at the directions if I need to, and I'll get ready for my project. Now, before I do that, here, let me pull these wires out of the back gently. Usually there's always a copper wire. That's going to be my ground wire. And I know I'm going to have to attach that to the ground screw. And I also know that the ground wire inside the box has to be connected too. Okay, so I'll have to make a decision what to do with that. I got a white wire and a black wire. Look familiar? Up in the light fixture, I got a black wire sticking out, I got a white wire sticking out, and a ground wire sticking out. You see anything hard about this? I don't. And see, this transformer sticks in there, and it looks like it's designed to fit right in that way, and this is going to be vertical up in the box and all that. Okay. Had I had a round box up there instead of a square box, it still would have worked. You would have just had to figure out where to install that. So it seems pretty simple. Okay. All right. I think I can do it. Bye, Joe.